Hi, I'm Doug Jones, and I am proud to represent the great state of Alabama here in the United States Senate. Since coming to the Senate, I have made it a priority to work with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to ensure everyone in America has access to quality and affordable health care. Unfortunately, our federal health law is under attack by the current administration. During his first year in office, President Trump spent a good part of his time working with Republicans in Congress to repeal health reform with no replacement plan in mind. Fortunately, they had no success. Some folks might think, since these attempts at repeal failed in Congress, that there is no longer a real threat to the coverage that they currently have. Unfortunately, that is just not true. Not too long ago, the Justice Department supported the ruling of a federal district court judge in Texas in a case filed by 20 state attorney generals, including the Attorney General of Alabama, that argues that the 2010 health care law is unconstitutional. Next week, an appeals court will hear arguments in that case. And I'll tell you folks, the stakes could not be higher. Across this nation, some 21 million Americans could lose their health insurance coverage if this lawsuit is successful and the law is struck down. Alabama is one of the states with most to lose. More than 166,000 Alabamians could lose their health insurance if this case is successful. As many as 133 million Americans have pre-existing conditions, including roughly 1/3 of Alabamians under the age of 65, more than 942,000 people. A repeal of this law could cause these individuals to be denied coverage or charged more for health care. During my time in the Senate, I've heard from a lot of folks back home who live with pre-existing conditions, who rely on the health law as it exists for protection. Joshua Hillman from Prattville, Alabama, and his brother both live with cystic fibrosis, which is an incurable lung condition they were born with. Every major decision their parents made had to be centered on making sure both boys had access to the best health insurance and medical care possible. Sometimes that even meant taking a job just for the health coverage. Folks, these lawsuits and the threat of repeal of the federal health law are very real and very frightening for so many people. People like Joshua, his parents, and countless other families. Every time the administration launches a new assault on our health care, folks across my home state and across the country get scared and wonder how they'll be able to get the care they need. This is absolutely unacceptable. Before this law was passed, insurers used to be able to deny coverage for conditions such as Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, cancer, pregnancy, and the list goes on. And the law doesn't only protect those with pre-existing conditions. It ended the practice of imposing annual or lifetime caps on coverage and gave more Americans access to preventive and maternal care. In Congress, we can work together to improve the law and make health care better for all Americans. But dismantling health reforms without a replacement is not an option. No law is perfect from the start, but upending our health care system and putting millions of Americans at risk is simply not the answer. Alongside Senator Mark Warner from Virginia, I've introduced legislation to incentivize states to expand Medicaid if they've not already done so. Just last month, alongside my colleagues, I helped to introduce the Healthy Maternal and Obstetric Medicine called the Healthy Mom Act to guarantee that pregnant women can access affordable health care during and after their pregnancies. These are just some examples of the work my colleagues and I are doing to strengthen health care in our country and ensure all American families have access to care. Unfortunately, we've not been able to debate or vote on these issues on the Senate floor, thanks to Senator Leader Mitch McConnell, who has been barreling many of these common sense, bipartisan health care bills. But we need your help, and your voices are powerful. Together, we can drive a more productive national conversation around health care and remind our policymakers and the administration that Americans will not stand for these repeated threats to their health care.